Republican Jen Kiggans is one of the nearly 80 new members of the 118th Congress, representing Virginia's 2nd District, which includes Naval Station Norfolk, the world's largest naval station. She told C-SPAN about her political influences, her previous work as a nurse, and why she wears a pin with wings along with her congressional member pin.
So I served for 10 of the best years of my life as a Navy pilot, as a helicopter pilot. I flew H-46s and H-3 helicopters stationed in Norfolk and at NAS Oceana, which is in Virginia Beach. So it was just a great time in my life. My dad was a Green Beret in the Army, and I was on an NROTC scholarship for college, and so chose to fly the year that women could fly in combat in 1993. And it was just a great experience serving the country, being at the tip of the spear. My husband is a retired F-18 pilot, and I have children who serve now too. So it's an important part of my life, an important part of who I am as a person and as a legislator.
How did you decide to become a pilot? I mean, what was it that made you want to pursue that?
Just that service to country. I think it's very important if we leave the country that we know how to serve the country, and politics is really is a service job as well. So being a representative of my district is another way for me to serve, and I think my whole life has really been about service to country as a Navy pilot, service to my family as a mother, and then I was a nurse practitioner, so service to my community and to our older and greatest generation as a nurse practitioner. So what a better next step for me to serve my country than as a representative for Congress.
How did being a pilot shape who you are?
So really just instilled a love of country and understanding how to do a mission and what the mission is for the country. And I want what's best for America, and I understand the importance of a strong military. It really motivates me when I think of my priorities, especially legislatively. I know that deterrence is our best form of preserving peace. So that's a priority of mine, and serving on the Armed Services Committee is another way for me to do that. But you know, my children will inherit this Navy. My son's in the Naval Academy. I have another son in Navy ROTC at VMI. So my children are inheriting this Navy, this military, along with their friends. So I want it to be strong. I want them to inherit a peaceful world that they can live and raise their families in. But I want them to be proud of their military. So it really shapes who I am, and just that patriotism and love of country. That's what my years in the military really did for me, and I carry with that, throughout my life with me.
Where were you deployed to, and when?
So I deployed a couple times to the Persian Gulf. I did 2 deployments. One was on the USS Seattle, where you did a lot of vertical replenishment in H-46, and then I also deployed on the USS Incheon, which we were more of a search and rescue capacity for an H-53 squadron. And then my last tour in the Navy was search and rescue at NAS Oceana, so for the master jet base on the East Coast.
That was 10 years of your life. When were you a nurse practitioner?
It's a long story. Yeah. So I served for 10 years, and then I got out of the Navy. We started to have children, and we were deployed back to back during our active duty time with my husband. So it was challenging, and I got out to raise my kids, which was another rewarding yet very hard job to be a stay-at-home mom. I had a GI Bill that was burning a hole in my pocket, and my mother is a nurse. I have a brother as a nurse, and I had grandparents that just made really great impact on my life. One of my set of grandparents were aged in a nursing home, had Alzheimer's disease, so I knew I wanted to serve that patient population, those older adults who are often voiceless in government especially. But I went back to school using my GI Bill to nursing school, and then to Vanderbilt to become a geriatric nurse practitioner, where I've been able to practice in long-term care, assisted living. I've done some home health and hospice, which I really loved, and memory care, and working just with frail elderly and cognitive impairment. So excited to advocate for them here in Congress. I was able to do that in the state legislature, and just really excited to be their voice again.
And then when did you run for your first public office?
So that was 2019, and that was in Virginia. It was the year of the blue wave. We saw a lot of Democrat women, especially, that were running and winning elections, and there really were no Republican women that were stepping up, especially veteran women. So I felt very underrepresented in government, and the state senator for my district kind of retired all of a sudden, and the seat was open. So, and I hated what I saw on television. I used to yell at the TV from my couch. I just hated the division and the negativity on the news. So I decided to get off my couch and literally Google how you get on a ballot, and really just worked very, very hard that year, and a tough year for Republicans to win in state elections. And we won and showed up in the state Senate as the only new Republican that year. And I sat in the minority in Virginia for a few years, and I really learned a lot of lessons about governing, about bipartisanship, about how to get things done in the minority. And 3 of the, again, great years of my life, but really prepared me well for my current job here in Congress.
And what made you decide to run for this seat?
So one big thing that really this was a motivating factor for me was that I felt like we were weak. We were weak in our military, and for me, just my district is so veteran heavy, so heavy in our active duty, population, but also our military families live there. As a military spouse, as a military mom, I couldn't do that on the state level. I could do a lot of work with not only healthcare, but with our veteran affairs type legislation, but just being able to impact change for our active duty military, working with Department of Defense and with our Navy. I want to restore that strength for our military. I want, again, for them to be proud. I think a lot of veterans that ran this cycle, we watched the Afghanistan withdrawal. That was an embarrassment for us. It was really hard to watch what that did to our military, and I know that impacted our reputation throughout the world. And if we don't have world peace, we have nothing, right? So for me, it's all really about restoring that strength for our military.